Good afternoon. I'd like to start by thanking Mary Beth Schmutz on campus for delivering this T-shirt to me a couple days ago. I think Tom was the only one in school here in 1955 when Rutgers was just made the change to become the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. As we know, before that we were just the Rutgers Scarlet or the Scarlet Scourge. Update on PJ. We'll get a full injury report on Sunday, but from talking to the doctors and the trainers and talking to PJ, he will be out for the Houston game, but possibly back for the game after that. So he's progressing in a pretty good fashion, and he seems to be on schedule. So what we'll do is we'll get through this game week, and then we'll reevaluate him on Sunday, and see if we think he could be ready to go for the game after that. I would be very optimistic that past that he will be back, but I think there's a possibility still to have him back for the Temple game.
Okay, given that, when can you start to work him into practice, even if it's light or limited?
I don't think that would be maybe till a week from Sunday.
A week from Sunday.
Yeah,
okay.
At the earliest, a week from Sunday.
Okay.
But you'd want him to practice the full week before that Temple game if he was to play in that Temple game.
I don't know that. I don't know that. I think we'd have to make that decision as the week goes on.
And that'll have to be something, if he does, that's the day you'll evaluate him every day just to see how he's doing. And
exactly.
gauge.
I think we have to. Yeah, I think we have to. I mean, we got to make sure that he's ready to go and he is ready to do all the things we're going to ask him to do in the game. And if he is, then we certainly would want him back. But if he's not, then we don't. We've got other good players on the team, and they'll have to do it.
It sounds like he hasn't had any setbacks in his rehab, right?
Not that I know of.
Progressing?
No, it seems like everything's progressing at a good pace. And like I said, we'll reevaluate a week from Sunday and see what we think we can get at him.
Moving ahead, I guess the same kind of plan with Savon and Justin.
Correct.
Savon's still going to start the next game.
We'll decide that next week, but I would anticipate seeing both guys within the first three series of the game. Whoever starts the game, we haven't decided that just yet.
Kyle, Gary was just in here talking about how the Kent State game last year, which was like kind of the midpoint last year, he learned from that. He felt like he pressed the rest of the way, and that hurt him the rest of last season. Obviously, he had a 4-interception game now, midway through the season. Do you feel like that experience last year helped him learn from it so that the second half of this season won't be a repeat of that?
I think it was the 8th game, wasn't it?
I think it was the 7th.
Yeah,
Kent State was
7-0, right?
7th? I thought it was 7-0 when we played.
You were 7-0 when you played him, right?
Yeah, and then we went into the second bye week. It was the 8th game.
Yeah. Okay.
So a little bit past the two-thirds point in the season. But I think any experience you have as a player, positive and negative, because handling the positives of being a player or a coach are similar to handling the negatives. They're different scenarios that come up every year, and you have to learn as you go to be able to handle those things. And if whatever it was, whether it was positive or negative, if you didn't respond the way you wanted to, usually if you stick around this business long enough as a player or a coach, you're going to get another opportunity to respond to something similar. And if Gary feels like he didn't play or make the decisions he wanted to make in that last game, as a player, one of the most important things you do is turn the page.
With the guys having off for a few days, do you give them any kind of message heading into that?
Well, they're not off yet. We won't practice tomorrow, but we will do some things, lifting and study halls and a recovery circuit to make sure that we get our bodies in position to move forward with the rest of the season, because it's a long season. I mean, when you play 12 games, 3 bye weeks, it gets stretched out pretty good. So you got to train the younger players to take care of their bodies through the season. So any break you get is an opportunity to come back healthier. I think we've done that as a football team. I feel good about where we are. But I think it's also important for the players on this team to understand, for all the privileges that come with being a major college football player, also come the responsibilities. And your social life cannot be the same social life as the normal student at Rutgers, because the normal student at Rutgers is not going to be asked to do the things physically or as physically demanding on their bodies as we're going to ask them to do during the football season.
Kyle, how important is a bye week for a guy like Goodwin or Chaffee to actually slow things down and do player development instead of game prep?
I think you have to take advantage of them as they come. And last year they were equally spaced. This year it's not quite as equally spaced, but we don't control that. So you have to really just take advantage of the time, because when you can't predict where you're going to be as a football team when you get to the bye week, from a football standpoint or from a health standpoint. So for every player, maybe the bye week means something a little bit differently. For younger players like Chaffee, Barnwell, Goodwin that are playing significant time now, or have a significantly different role than maybe they had at the beginning of the year, I think this could be a real advantage for them.
Got time for 2 more.
It's probably,
As the year's gone on, more of the throws to Coleman have become completions. Where have you seen the improvement in the Nova to Coleman connection?
I don't ever see it that way. I've been asked questions about kind of Nova to Pratt, and then Nova to Carew, and Nova to Coleman, and Nova to Croft. I'm sure at some point someone will say
More
so.
Coleman himself.
You know, Brandon Coleman is a consistent performer for us, and when the read dictates that the ball comes his way, we have full confidence that he's going to catch it, and that's what's important to me. That the quarterback goes through his progression, and that when the receivers get their opportunities, that they take advantage of.
it seemed like forever since you played a home game.
Not until you just said it, but
I mean, it won't be until next
sure.
Saturday. You had 2 road games.
Yeah, now that
then
you
you
bring
got
it
a
up.
bye.
It's a unique schedule. There's no doubt. To have a bye week and then 2 road games in 5 days, and then another bye week is certainly a unique schedule. But we are certainly looking forward to being back home a week from Saturday.
Probably should have saved that for next week.